Hey guys, welcome to my presentation. So we're learning about some larceny today. Very common crime in New York State and all across the United States. This is my presentation. I'm loganyotter, as some of you guys probably know already. So let's get into what larceny is. So here are the articles of larceny. It is Article 155 in New York State Penal Law. There are a few different degrees of larceny. The first one and most common would be petit larceny. Then we move to grand larceny fourth, grand larceny third, grand larceny second, grand larceny first, and aggravated grand larceny of an automated teller machine, ATM, otherwise known as. So let's start with what petit larceny is. So petit larceny, larceny in general, is when a person is guilty of stealing property. Petit larceny in general is just stealing something under $1,000. And then you own a grand larceny that's over 1,000 and so on, and we'll get into that in the next few slides. And to determine which level of larceny you'll charge them with, just insert that dollar amount or the value of the property and all that, and yeah, go from there. Look it up in the penal law, and simple as that. So there are different definitions and types of larceny ranging all the way from a Class A misdemeanor to a Class B felony. And we'll get into like the different classifications and punishments and all that sentences in a little bit. And larceny, the act of stealing, it includes conversion, embezzlement, extortion, false pretenses, false promises, and acquiring lost property. So next slide, more definitions of it. As I said before, petit larceny is just stealing property. That's the simple term. And then you go into grand larceny fourth, and that's stealing property exceeding $1,000. Grand larceny third, exceeding $3,000. Grand larceny second, over $50,000, which is quite a jump from those two. But the biggest jump of all is grand larceny first, which I don't know what you had to steal, maybe a plane or something. That's over $1 million, so I don't know. But yeah, a plane. I don't know what else is worth $1 million. And we go into aggravated grand larceny, which is when a person commits grand larceny third and is previously convicted of grand larceny third within the previous 5 years. So if they hit that 6-year mark, can't charge them with this. This is a less common of a charge. Most people don't really steal $3,000 and do it again and again. But go on to this, classifications. Class A misdemeanor, that's the lowest level of larceny that we can do. And then going to fourth, that's a Class E misdemeanor. Class D misdemeanor for third. Second is Class C. First is Class B. And aggravated grand larceny is Class C felony. And difference between misdemeanors, felonies, violations. Violations are usually just fines, no real jail time, maybe up to like 15 days, that's about it. Misdemeanors are up to 364 days, and felonies are anywhere from a year to life, which is all defined on this slide right here. So there are also fines attached with these charges as well. So not only a sentence, but you can be fined as well. It's kind of like an either or both. So petit larceny, again, no longer than 364 days with a fine no more than $1,000. Fourth, sentence no longer than 4 years. Third, sentence no longer than 7 years. And grand larceny second, no longer than 15 years. And a fine no more than $15,000. So if we go back a few slides, if it won't let me go back, but if we went back a few slides, for grand larceny second, you had to steal something $50,000 or more. and the fine's only 15. And then for this one, you steal something over $1 million, and the fine's only $30,000 for grand larceny first. And then we go into aggravated grand larceny. Again, that's the same sentence as second degree grand larceny because it's a Class C felony. So again, no more than 15 years and no more than $15,000. Here's some other related charges and offenses to larceny. So we have Article 160 right here. That is robbery. That is forcibly taking property from another person. So it's rare to charge a larceny with robbery. Burglary is a more common charge, charging both of them together. But they're kind of related because, again, it's the act of stealing property. And it's forcefully. Larceny is not forcefully. And the next one right here, Article 165, it is criminal possession of stolen property. So, charge those two together. You steal someone's property and then you're found in possession of that property. You're then in possession of stolen property. So, a kind of common charge right there. Next, Article 140, that is burglary and trespassing. Sometimes these charges get thrown on together. So, difference between burglary and robbery. Robbery is you're taking it from somebody forcefully, and burglary is entering a building, dwelling, anything like that, where you go in with the intent to commit a crime. And usually with burglary, your intent is to steal, which is larceny. So that's how you get both larceny and burglary in the same charge. Again, it all depends on what you're stealing. You can also charge like a criminal mischief as well if the door or something is locked and they break the door, the window, etc. Again, it's a different charge and all that if it's not really locked. And then same thing like stealing from a car. Not stealing a car, but stealing from a vehicle. Yeah, so a trespass, again, not really as related, but it relates to burglary, so that's why I added it in here. Alright, so let's get into some historical background right here. So larceny was created way back, when people started stealing things. So about 13th century England is when it became against the law, but it originally was actually just a civil matter. So you go to the court proceeding, whatever. You don't get charged with a crime, but you get civil penalties, all that, had to pay fines. So about 13th century England, it was transformed into a criminal matter. And then right here in 1796 in New York State, the current laws of New York State were created from the colonial laws of New York State. So more common law, and what we see today as larceny. And the original statute of larceny was stated as, if a finder of goods takes them away with the intention of converting them to his own use and only restore them because a reward is offered, he is guilty of larceny. Again, that's an early definition. It was then broken down and defined as what it is today, just stealing property. And larceny is a non-violent act of taking, because if it was forcefully, violently, it would be robbery in that case, and that's what this is not. So I'll get into some victimization trends right here. I did find these charts, as you can see, from New York State crime, and these are from 2019. So it compared from 2010 to 2019. And you can see right here that index crimes are going down. This doesn't just include larceny, it includes index crimes. I couldn't find anything that just defined that, but as shown here, because it is in the crime rates, here's the percentage. From 2010 to 2019, larceny fell about 22%. So it is on a decline, but all crime is on a decline right now, as shown here. So that is expected. This is also by county, the index crime rate. In 2019, Erie County is listed right here. So that's where Hilbert is. And then the surrounding areas, Niagara County, and then Cattaraugus and Chautauqua. And you can just find your county there and see what, your index crime rate is and what the trends are and everything. It goes into like index violent property crimes. So crime rate again is on the decline. And right there, so we'll go into the next slide. And that shows the comparison between 2018 and 2019. And these are regional crime rates. Again, larceny is down 4.4% in just 1 year from 2018 to 2019. And again, this is a little bit before the New York State bail reform came into play, which I really want to see the statistics on that and how that played out, because in my experience with larceny, it happens way too often. And when I was on a police department, we'd arrest somebody for larceny and they wouldn't get booked. Well, they get booked, but they wouldn't get arrested, stay in jail. They get arrested, but they wouldn't stay in jail. We just literally release them right away with a court appearance date. And on their way home, they go back and start stealing things because we couldn't do anything about it. Like we just, oh, all right, arrest them again, give another court appearance, and that's it. We can't hold them. New York State bail reform, I don't understand it, but they can just keep committing crimes and we couldn't do anything about it. But that's enough of that. So right here, I found this from the FBI Uniform Crime Report, and this just shows 2017, the different levels of larceny. So from a motor vehicle, all others, pickpocketing, coin-operated machines, purse snatching from bicycles, motor vehicle accessories from buildings, and shoplifting. So these are all, pretty well balanced on this side, but then you get into these, it's kind of harder to make that only a larceny, not a robbery, because pickpocketing, a person pulls away, then you're forcefully taking, so that's pickpocketing. Same with purse snatching and all that. Next slide. Here's the demographics that I found by race, age, ethnicity. So again, mostly whites. We've all know that because white population is quite large. And then black population, it seems, it's overrepresented here with the total arrest wise. And then Native American, Asian, Native Hawaiian, they're on the lesser scale but more proportional. And then you go into Hispanic, not Hispanic. And next slide. So societal views, obviously we don't like when people take things. It ruins everything, inflates prices on things. You go to your store, you see everything locked up, and then it's just like, well, I don't want to waste my time waiting for someone to come over here and unlock it from the shelf, or bring this big box up to the register just for one little thing inside of it. So then it creates even more loss of sales. And the current store that I'm actually working at, we have a lot of things locked up. As I've seen in different like Californian stores and everything, people are just walking out with products in their shopping carts, and that's what I've seen in multiple stores too here. They just load up their shopping cart and you can't really do anything about it, because with new safety precautions, employees are not allowed to really confront, touch, anything like that. Someone that's stealing, you can only say, can I help you with anything? And if they say no, and you don't directly see them stuffing something in their shirt, you can't assume that they're stealing anything. But there are different deterrence methods, as I stated. So added security cameras, increase staff awareness of what stealing looks like, how to prevent it, just wandering around the store, having eyes on people, lock boxes so things are locked up, the threat and punishment or a fine, that is a great deterrent as well, and the doorway beepers that we all know of, like at Walmart, and that whenever you go by and you saw that tag on your shirt that they forgot to remove and it beeps. Sometimes that deters, but sometimes not. Again, with the New York State bail reform, all this is changed where you can catch the person and then just get released anyway, or they'll just give the products back to the store and they're on their way type of thing. So the threat, punishment, and fine really not existent right now. So yeah, so this is presentation on larceny. Here's my references where I got all my information from. So the FBI, got some from New York State, and when I went to the police academy from Captain Harrington here. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for listening to my presentation.